Strange behavior, poor living conditions, and a call to his late mother? Here's what Jeffrey Epstein's life in jail was really like. In 2019, disgraced New York financier Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in a New York jail cell. At the time, he was awaiting trial on charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy, with as many as 80 women and girls alleging that they had been trafficked by Epstein, per Insider. Several high-profile individuals, including Prince Andrew, were allegedly implicated as being members of Epstein's inner circle, according to Reuters. Epstein was previously arrested in 2008 for solicitation of prostitution involving a minor, among other charges, but only served 13 months in jail as part of a plea deal, per Insider. However, by 2019, Epstein's fall from the highest levels of New York society seemed complete. Epstein died while in custody at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, also known as the MCC. Some remain skeptical that Epstein's death was a suicide because he denied being suicidal in the days leading up to his death, among other irregularities. Some also speculate that he may have had help in the act, the New York Times reported. Conditions at the MCC were a far cry from the luxury lifestyle Epstein had been used to, which had included private jets and private island retreats. And as reported by the Times, the MCC was temporarily closed down in 2021 due to its poor conditions, giving some indication of what Epstein's final days in jail were like.
Investigators are trying to determine what happened to Epstein inside the Metropolitan Correctional Center.
Epstein was arrested in July 2019 at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey, per the New York Times. A Justice Department indictment had implicated him in dozens of sex acts with minors, among other charges, leading to his arrest. If convicted of those crimes, Epstein could have faced up to 45 years in prison. Despite the high-profile nature of his case, Epstein first entered the MCC as part of the jail's general population, and as a result, restrictions on his life were relatively light. The fact that Epstein was not placed in a more restrictive circumstance was later attributed to an oversight, just one of many that would allegedly happen in the days leading up to Epstein's death. Once Epstein's status at the MCC was discovered, he was moved from the general jail population to the Special Housing Unit, also known as the SHU. From the time he first arrived, Epstein was described as looking sad, dazed, confused, and withdrawn, based on Federal Bureau of Prison records obtained by the New York Times. Plus, concern for Epstein's mental well-being reportedly worsened after his move to the SHU. It was expected that Epstein would be denied bail. As a result, he underwent and passed several psychological evaluations and was put under psychological observation, described by the Times as one step away from suicide watch. While under psychological observation, specially designated inmates reportedly filed reports every 15 minutes on Epstein's status. Epstein reportedly continued to tell jailhouse staff that he would never attempt suicide. However, some who filed reports on his activities while under psychological observation provided a different picture. For instance, Epstein was allegedly observed sitting for a prolonged period with his head in his hands, according to the New York Times. Still, Epstein reportedly remained talkative and continued to state that he had much to live for. The Federal Bureau of Prison records indicate that he did not sleep well, though, and he lodged complaints over the noisy conditions in the jail and the quality of the food. Epstein also continued to receive visits from his defense attorneys and denied any wrongdoing related to the sex abuse charges he faced. Despite those protestations, Epstein reportedly unsuccessfully attempted suicide while in jail, per CNBC. After the denial of a second bail attempt, it reportedly seemed clear to Epstein and his defense team that his case would likely go to trial and that further bail requests would be denied. An inmate was subsequently placed in Epstein's cell, but when Epstein's sleep was further disrupted, he was left alone once again.
His cellmate was released and not replaced earlier in the day.
Prior to his death, Epstein made a phone call, and he allegedly claimed he'd spoken to his late mother. It was later revealed that he had actually spoken to his girlfriend, and he returned to his jail cell after the conversation. Epstein was found the next morning with a bedsheet around his neck and declared dead a short time later. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline by dialing 988 or by calling 1-800-273-TALK 8255.